Happy Friday, everybody. Here we are once again with a great episode of TransMedCare. And we brought along your favorite founder and CEO,
Mhm.
Andrew Brainard. Hi, Andrew. How you doing today?
Good. How are you, Tom? Thanks for having me again.
Oh, you bet. This is going to be a lot of fun. And we got a lot of great feedback from the first one we did. So we're going to make this a habit, folks. We're going to do a couple of these different things because I love working with TransMedCare, probably because it's one of those unique businesses out there that insiders kind of know about it, maybe a little bit about it, but folks outside the industry don't necessarily know about it. And I certainly was taken aback when I understood, A, what the volume of need is out there, how few people do it. And if I'm being completely honest with our relationship, how many folks aren't exactly doing it the way TransMedCare does? And I
Yeah.
thought that a great odd topic, and you and guys talk about it, was kind of talking about, why does it matter? What are the experiences that a patient really must have to make sure that experience is certainly going to be super comfortable? It's going to get them there safely, and it's going to keep everybody happy, including family members that may worry, their caregivers that may worry a little bit. That's really the stress relief that's pretty unique to what you guys do. So wanted to kind of dig into that a little bit and just kind of think about it. It's not just logistics. We're not moving cargo. We are moving human beings who are in a fragile state. So it's not something that can be done lightly at all. So I just kind of maybe going back a little bit and just kind of maybe help the audience know this is a really unique business. How in the world did you get into this and decide to start TMC?
Uh, it was by accident as far as getting into the industry. I was living in a friend's house. I was renting a room. This was, almost 20 years ago. He had a local non-emergency transportation company that he was running by himself. He needed help. So I just kind of helped because I had a lot of free time on my hands with the job that I had at the time. And he was the kind of person who was very trusting and saw my ambition. And anytime, I wanted to take over the marketing or the sales, he just said, have at it. So I would just come up with things and try things, and they would work. And sales the first year, for him was went up, doubled in the first year that I worked. And it
Awesome.
was a lot of knocking on doors. It was a lot of trial and error, but it went really well. And then I just kept growing from there, from company to company, moving up the chain of larger companies, taking on bigger roles, until I decided that, I just needed to do this myself finally. I always had intentions to do that. It just took me longer than I wanted it to.
That's awesome. And you've been doing it a long time now, and we've talked about this a lot, and you educated me, which has been great. But what was missing in the industry that really made you feel like, wow, as an entrepreneur, and you are just the classic entrepreneur, you have that ability to see around corners. But what did you see that was missing in the patient experience that you knew you could do better?
Well, it's most people don't realize that long distance medical transport is often a crisis decision. Families are stressed, they're emotional, and they're looking for help, not just a quote.
Hmm.
From my perspective, being the employee and actually having family members that I've transported personally, I saw that there was a need for actual care of the patients. Again, as you stated in the beginning, these are people, they're not cargo. I've worked for too many companies that treated the people as cargo and not people. And they treat their employees or the contractors like cargo. They're not human beings either to them. And I just knew that I could do it better. I knew I could give the customer a better experience. Back when I was first thinking of branching off and doing it myself, uh, RVing was becoming popular, right? So people were buying Mercedes or Dodges and they were customizing them. And I'm like, what a great idea if I could combine medical care and RV style type transport all in one. And, we're on iteration number 9 or 10, but every time I build a new van, it's got new features that help the drivers or the medic be more comfortable or be able to do their jobs better, more comfort for the family riding with or the patient themselves. We added Netflix when it became something that was popular, and we had consistent Wi-Fi on board. Our vans are built for comfort. They're not just thrown together, and we can get into that more.
Yeah, I mean, those are really cool. I remember when you showed me the latest and greatest vans, I was pretty blown away. But not so much that they're cool, because they are. I mean, they'd be fun to ride around with even if you didn't need the
Yeah.
all the services on there, but it was really cool. But the amount of thought that went into it in terms of comfort, safety, you mentioned entertainment, it's a long ride. Could be all the way to Oregon, could be a very long ride. So comfort, safety, attention, low light. I've seen all those things. It's really neat. And by the way, folks, we talked about it. These vans are so cool. We're actually going to do one of these, a really short 10-minute video of Andrew kind of taking you through one of the most modern vans so you can kind of see the different features and how it helps the client, because it is extremely cool. But really, compared to the competition out there and those specific features that you continue to really upgrade into your vehicles, what what can clients really expect from others they might see out there? Because I know kind of things people think, oh, I got to get from point A to point B. I need a driver. Maybe it's Uber, but that's not going to be a medical environment. So I'm guessing there could be probably some services out there that are not as fully featured as TMC.
Yeah, and there are, and that's again why I went to the extreme uh, realm of safety and comfort, because there is no industry standard. This industry is still self governed to the level that it is. So what I'm trying to do with TransMedCare is create an industry standard that others have to follow when it comes to comfort, safety of the vans. Not every company has seatbelts in every seated position. We do.
Mhm.
Whether you're laying down or you're sitting, you have a seatbelt that you can wear. Um, we took we the walls because we're in Florida. That doesn't mean we're always in Florida. So our vans have to be designed and capable of dealing with desert, 100 plus heat, and we also have to deal with below 30 degrees in the wintertime in Wisconsin. So our walls are insulated. We've put in heavy plywood in the floors because cargo vans ride best when they're loaded. And what are they loaded with? Cargo. Well,
Right.
we
Yeah.
can't put cargo in there to make it ride the way we can. So the only thing I could do was come up with ways to make it heavier in the back so the suspension would work the way that it's supposed to, the way it's built to.
Oh,
I've been inside Mercedes, I've been inside Dodge, and I've been inside Ford. And if you don't make it heavy in the back, it is a miserable, bumpy ride. And that's not to say anything about the roads like in New York or
right.
Indiana that we can't control that. So we do our best for things like that. And for again the safety, they're a competition that sends two people. I wouldn't send a loved one with a company like that. I mean, they do what they do. I just don't see how it's safe. If we're doing a trip from Florida to New York, it's probably going to be overnight. And if you're sending two people, that means one person has to sleep and the other one has to drive. Well, who's taking care of the patient? Because I know,
Because you run with three.
yeah,
Yeah.
and,
Okay.
and I know from personal experience working from another company that when I had to take care of the patient because they sent two of us and I had to be there for the patient, I wasn't sleeping. I slept, but I was very light sleeping because I was worried every time the patient moved, they needed something. So I
Sure.
don't know how they do it. I don't know how they do it safely because the CNA that we have on board, they play cards with the patient, they watch TV with the patient, they just have conversations with them, they hold their hand. They're always there and attentive, and it doesn't matter. They don't have to worry about driving the next 4 to 6 hours in the middle of the night when they should have been sleeping. So that to me is a red flag with any company that doesn't send three people. I'm immediately out.
No, and goes to capability too, because we know that some of our patients are extremely fragile, and they need to get to point A from point A to point B as quickly as possible. So the fact that you have two trained drivers, that the vehicle never stops, is a huge advantage, because if at a certain point, if you have only two and it's a long distance, you're going to have to stop the vehicle, which is a whole different level of complexity that you've thought through, which is amazing. So all those little things that you talk about in the vehicle, we're going to get deep into it when we do the video. But that's a big piece of it. It's not just the technology, because you've done some really cool things. I'm a gadget guy too, and I love it. But it's really the amount of thought that you put into it, and it's in your entire business. What's the client need? How can we make it better? How do we implement it in a way that delivers value? And that's huge. And really pivoting to that, because we were talking about the people a little bit, but even the people behind the scenes, the ones that I get to work with a lot and I love, are the people on the phones. Your team of really their care individuals, and they're always about the client and always asking for saying, what can else can we get for the client? And I know that it comes from, I know you recruited the right people and they're very special, but you also trained them in a different way to really look at our business. And I find it inspiring because I love doing training with them and everything else because they are so pure and they love what they do. I know they've been here a long time. It's all of those things that are probably music to a client's ears. But how did you instill that kind of I guess servant mentality into your team, because they're awesome.
I've always come from the place, whatever job I've ever had, it's always been, what can I do to help you? And if you go with my services, great. If you don't, hopefully I put you on the right path to whatever decision you decide to go with in your decision making. Um, and that goes for the sales team. That's everyone here in the office who doesn't talk on the phone. Everyone it cares about what they do here. They see the mission. And then when it comes to the drivers and the CNAs, I've hired competition drivers and CNAs, and they're not the same. I don't hire for a license; I hire for heart. So if they don't have the compassion, there's no room for them here.
Yeah. It's really cool because I know that your drivers and your nurses are really good about taking a lot of photos on these trips, and a lot of them are joyous. And you know that some of the folks are really in a tough health state, but clearly they're enjoying themselves. The experience is a good one. You can tell that the contractors love what they do. It's really great. I think that's the difference. How do you train them? Do you just recruit really good ones that happen to know how to do it, or do you have a specific way you like to do things for your clients?
Um, I tell everyone to treat them as if it's your family member because one day it could be.
That's right.
And if the request that a family member has is within reason, we can't always we can't take them to a theme park,
Right.
but if we're picking them up and they're a couple miles from the beach and their last request is just to see the beach, we'll do it. you know
Oh, that's cool.
we'll back the van right up there, we'll open
Yeah.
the doors, you don't even have to get off board, and we'll just sit there and you can enjoy the beach one more time.
Oh my gosh, that is great. And you see those in those photos, and I love it too that they'll take photos like on the other end. Sometimes there's a good sized family, some a really big family
Yeah.
welcoming them home, which is, I mean, it's the most visual mission accomplished I can think of before. It's extremely cool. I mean, how satisfying. And you can tell the joy in your contractors' faces. They clearly are enjoying what they do. And I know they stick with you for a long time too, because a lot of times they've got their own gigs and they're doing this, but they keep coming back to TransMedCare because they just like it.
Yeah, I've had contractors leave not on bad terms, and for whatever reason, health reasons, or they decided to try to do their own thing on their own, and they've come back, and I always welcome them with open arms because I know that they want to be here.
Yeah. It's crazy. Well, one of the things I know that we've been working on, and I wanted to kind of share it, is that obviously the service that you provide is super high value and probably the only option for somebody that's really in a fragile state to get from a long distance from point A to point B. But I'm guessing that there's ways to improve that over time and things you can do. And you're always coming up with all kinds of ideas. I'm like, wow, how do you think like that? As your passion for continuous improvement, what kind of things do you think you'll look for? What I'm talking about too is I know that sometimes people go like, oh, I had no idea that the service cost this much, not understanding. You have professional drivers, you have got all those things, you got the van, and some of that immediate affordability can be an issue, especially like you said, in a crisis scenario,
Yeah.
families having to make some decisions in short form. And you just partnered with a financing arm that actually gives options to people so that they don't have to make those crazy decisions in a, could be like something they can't afford in a second. All they need is time. And
Yeah.
you were able to develop a relationship with a financing arm that specifically does this. How did that come to pass?
So we've hear from customers quite often. It's just that they don't have the funds immediately. So what we're trying to solve is let's say you're selling your parents' house, but in order for you to sell it, you got to get them out of there. You got to get it cleaned out. but you were going to use that money to pay for the transport. Well, with this financial company that we've partnered with, you can get interest free up to, I think, 24 months interest free as long as you pay it off in full. But that helps you bridge that gap of being able to pay for the transport now, freeing up the asset that you're going to sell to pay for it, and then you can use that money to pay off the loan that you took. So a lot of it is just helping with the immediate, oh my god, I did not know it was going to be this much, and I also need this, but I don't want to go with a different company, I want to go with your company, but what are we going to do? So we're hoping that this helps solve a lot of problems for families.
Wow. That's huge because I know a lot of times, even if somebody's liquidating a home or an asset, there may be a timing issue in terms of that. And so to remove that stress, we're just like, you've got the timing under control. Let's take care of the patient. Everything's good. What a stress reliever. And I know for your team, when I talk to them, they even try to give them different ideas on like, oh my gosh, can you have a conversation with a family member or things like that? They really help them through what I would say above and beyond the call of duty in a way to really help them try to make it happen because we've all been there. It's one of those things that we share as humans, that same experience. We've all had tragedies or difficulties or hard problems that we had to solve that we didn't really know how to do. And gosh darn it, if somebody, either a family member or a vendor or a partner, reached out to us and say, you know what, I got a solution. Oh, the stress relief is huge. It's like, oh
Yeah.
my gosh. I was like, okay, I can now function. I can get through that. That's great. And so your mentality of keeping looking for innovations, et cetera, makes a whole lot of sense. And the other thing that we were kind of talking about is that other healthcare providers, where sometimes our clients reside, whether they're in maybe assisted living or potentially hospice or maybe some sort of professional nursing or could be even cosmetic surgery that needs to be done elsewhere. They need to get to point. Lots of different reasons why they use us. Um, Looking at that going forward, it seems to me those partners should be great referral, I guess, sources for us. But they may not know we're out here either.
Yeah, that's true. I'm always still surprised on how many hospitals or nursing homes we talk to that were like, "Oh, I didn't know this existed." And I want to take that probably not from the nursing home's point of view, but probably the person before them knew that information
Mm-hmm.
and just didn't pass it on because they don't have the internal like vendor list or something. So what we're trying to do constantly is partner with hospitals, nursing homes, get on a vendor list, give them whatever resources they need about us so that they can pass it on to their clients because case managers, you're not just there taking care of the patient, you're trying to help solve their problems when it's time for them to either come to your facility or leave your facility. They grow relationships with these individuals and they want to help them, so we want to help you help them. So always, you could always reach out to us. We can become a vendor, we can fill out paperwork, provide you with any information that you need, insurance, things of that nature. And then whenever you have a patient who needs our care, they can call, get a quote. If they go with us, great. If not, at least you put them in the right track because we're going to give them all the information that they need to make a right decision.
Fantastic. Well, this has been a great episode. This is really fun. I put on the banner down here that there's a way to contact TransMedCare. Email works, comfort at trans-medcare.com, or just
Yep.
call the 800 number, 888-984-3722, and ask for Andrew. He loves talking about this stuff, and you also get to experience our wonderful customer service reps. They're dynamite. They can give it to you. So more to come. Also, if anybody needs anything, reach out to us. You're going to see more episodes. In the meantime, tell a friend if they're in a tight spot, and we will see you next time. So I'm Tom Daly.
Andrew Brainard.
It's good to see you guys. Enjoy your weekend, and we will see you soon. Take
Bye,
care.
everyone.